We're out here bourbon hunting at Cosmo Liquor in Lake Forest, California.
Hi, I'm Taryn.
Hi, I'm Jonathan, and welcome to Whiskey Break.
And today, like we said, we're outside of Cosmo Liquor in Lake Forest, California. We actually went here on our very first bourbon hunting video, and that was a cool experience. We actually got the stag here for $100 on a special deal, which was super awesome. Loved that trip. But we were actually invited back here by the owners, and we're super excited to go see, what they have.
Let's get right into it. All right when we walk in, we have the Buffalo Trace shelf. We got normal Buffalo Trace, Sazerac, Wheatley, and then up top, we actually have the little 375s of their pick remaining for $20. So, you know us, we love Buffalo Trace picks, and it's actually kind of nice to get a little 375. You get to enjoy a bunch of different ones, especially for us. We have so many. So $20, that's a fantastic deal. And then you got the Fireball Dragon's Reserve. That's just kind of a fun bottle. Not for us, but really a fun experiment.
All right, we just got into the aisle section. So we're going to start with this first row here. First up top, we have the whiskey row. So we've had some of these products before. We actually got them for super cheap somewhere else, and it's very interesting. But for $80,
yeah, we can't really recommend it at that price. Unfortunately, it fell a little flat. It was a little bit weird. But getting into the other products, we have some Garrison Brothers up top. We got the normal High West right there, the American Prairie Bourbon, and the Rendezvous Rye. And then below, we do have this Pike Creek Canadian whiskey, finished in rum barrels, 10 years old, for $30. That's pretty interesting. 42%, so a little low on the proof, but some people don't love Canadian whiskey, but we don't really shy away from it because we love Alberta Premium and we love Found North. So that could be a good pickup. Next to it, we also have a Nashville Barrel Company rye batch. And never heard of this Misunderstood Ginger Spiced Whiskey, but
might be a good pickup for the holidays.
And then up top, we have Cascade Moon. I'm pretty sure this is a Dipple product, but it is actually under 40% alcohol. It dropped below to 39.9% at 15 years old. If you don't know, in that area, sometimes the whiskey actually goes lower instead of higher. So I haven't heard the best things about it, but that's kind of interesting, trying a barrel proof at less than 80 proof. I don't know. Maybe it's for somebody. And then below, we have the Smoke Wagons. We have the USA edition and the normal uncut, the younger, and the Bottled and Bond rye, I believe this is. Yes. And then up top, we do have the blue run. So we have the High Rye, the Golden Rye, and the Reflection One, each for $100. Normally we don't recommend Blue Run because of the price, but they are running a $30 rebate on all of these. So if you've never had a Blue Run before, picking it up, getting it for $30 off, $70, it's really not that bad. And it's a really pretty bottle. Could be a great gift bottle, especially around the holidays. We would probably recommend the High Rye out of these three, just because we haven't tried the others. And then over here, this is actually probably what caught our eyes the most on the shelf, is we have the whole RD1 lineup for $50. This is by far the cheapest we've ever seen it. We picked up the Amberana. We really enjoyed it at 110 proof. If it's not up your alley, it's at least polarizing. It's one of a kind. It's a great way to try Amberana. But we also have the French Oak at 101 proof and the Oak and Maple barrels, 99.9 proof, and then their standard Kentucky Straight whiskey at 49%. So we may go home with one of these, but if we didn't have the Amberana, that would be the pickup today. That's a fantastic price, fantastic value. All right, going down a level, we do have the Pinhooks. We see these at every liquor store. We haven't actually tried any of them yet. I believe they are mostly just sourced from MGP. We have 3 different varieties, the bourbon, and a rye at $60 and $40. Let us know if anyone's tried any of these and if they're particularly a good value. The wax on the top is kind of fun, but otherwise don't know a lot about it. And then we have 3 different Nulus for $70, $90, and $100. We have their standard bourbon whiskey, we have a toasted small batch bourbon whiskey, and a toasted rye. So we've actually really liked our toasted bourbon that we have at home. That was a single barrel pick from Bourbon Finds. This toasted rye is actually catching our eye. 5 years, $100, a little pricey, but there's not a lot of great toasted ryes on the market. So that could be a really good bottle. I believe all of these are MGP, but The finishes, they do themselves. And then below, we have Wyoming small batch whiskey. We've never tried any of the Wyoming products. I believe this is their standard 88 proof. They have some really premium products before. Haven't heard a whole lot about them. We have David Nichols and the Elvis peanut butter whiskey. Kind of fun right there. Moving over, we also have a Hirsch Horizon for $40. And then two different George Dickel's, a single barrel 15-year and a 9-year bourbon. We're not a huge fan of the Dickel profile, but if you do like it, I mean, you can't really get a better value than 15 years at $50. So might be a pickup for someone. Up top, we do have the 2XO, the Innkeeper's Blend. This is actually the 2XO batch that we have at home. It's pretty good. At $100, if you've never tried a 2XO, I think it's worth the shot, especially if you like double-barreled or toasted bourbon in general. We haven't tried any of the newer batches, but Innkeeper's Blend is one of the better reviewed ones out there, so that's a pretty good pickup. Otherwise, we have Buzzard's Roost, which is actually new to our area. It wasn't distributed until recently, I'm pretty sure. So they have a Toasted American Oak Straight Bourbon at 105 proof, same one, and then a Char No. 1 Straight Bourbon at 105 proof for between $90 and $80. So kind of fun picks right there.
Down here we have the Old Elks. This is a really good selection of Old Elks, honestly.
Yeah.
And especially for $100, these are some pretty good bottles.
You can do a lot worse. Port cask, cognac cask, sherry cask, Armagnac cask, and then the straight wheat whiskey for $70. I mean, if you want to try and finish and you don't have a lot in your area, that's a good way to handle it right there. Of course, we have the Penelope lineup here, the rosé cask with the glass cap. That's kind of fun for $90. I mean, I don't think anyone else makes a rosé cask, so that could be a cool try. And then we have the Toasted Rye Whiskey for $100, the Architect for $70, and the Standard Barrel Strength for $70. Heard a lot of great things about Penelope. We may want to try this Toasted Rye at some point, but I don't think we'll be going home with it today.
Yeah, this one in particular is a heavy toast.
Yes.
I think might want to try something a little bit less than that just to start, but might be a good pickup later.
Yeah. And below, we have the standard Old Forester Whiskey Roast Series. If you haven't had them before, they're great values at the price point. 1920 and 1910 are definitely the fan favorites. And then below, we have Jacob's Pardon, which is kind of an interesting one at 97.1 proof. Doesn't have a price, but probably in the $50 range. I believe that is light whiskey, though, so it's going to be a little bit less rounded than a standard bourbon. Then we have Mythology, which is out of Colorado, actually. We've tried their, I believe, the Hell Bear, which is their Burr Rye, kind of a competitor to Lost Monarch, but we've never tried the bourbon before. Really cool labels and bottle designs for sure. And then we got Standard Yellowstone, Chicken Cock, all the usual suspects.
Hopping over to our favorites, the Redwood Empire. We finally did pick up the Pipe Dream, so we aren't looking for that anymore. And we're super happy to have the Pipe Dream 101 now as well.
Yes, the brand new release. Up top over here, we have the standard Stellum Rye and Stellum Bourbon. We really liked our Stellum Rye single barrel pick that we have. That was just a really good MGP rye barrel. We haven't tried the batch product, but if you're looking for a solid MGP rye, we do like barrel. We do trust them. The bourbon, it tends to have Dickel in it, so that's kind of an avoid for us. And just to the right of it, we have Calumet 8, and we have Calumet 14. We really like our Calumet 16. You know, it's kind of the best way to get a super oaky, dry profile at a reasonable price. We've never tried the 14-year, but for $100, I mean, it's kind of hard to get a better value than that for a nice age-dated bourbon. It is Barton. It's pretty good. And then below, we have the Uncle Nearest whiskeys. That is a different Tennessee whiskey. And then we have the Fox and Odins, which I believe is a brand underneath the Joseph Magnus umbrella. And so we have the double oaked bourbon and the cast strength bourbon right here. Over to the right, we have Angel's Envy Rye and the Sagamore Sherry finish. We've said it a million times before. This is the best alternative to Midwinter Night's Dram. $80. It's just fantastic. Great time of year to get it too. And then we have the actual old 83 proof Sagamore. We like the new small batch a lot better because it has their own distillate in it. But if you want something really low proof, this can still work well for you. And then below, we have the standard George Remus from MGP, the Rossville Union cast strength. This is another great way to just get a good cast strength MGP rye. And then we have all the different wilderness trails, which we haven't tried anything from them yet, but let us know, are any of these bottles worth picking up? And then below, we have the Southern Star Paragon. We've heard a little bit about that, but we're not huge wheated bourbon fans, but we'll pass, but some people have reviewed that really highly. And then we have the Legent, the Old Tub, High Plains Rye, don't know a lot about that one, and Rabbit Hole Derringer, which for $90, we've heard really good things, but that's just a little bit pricey for us. And right here in the front displays, we have the somewhat allocated bottles. So we've got Larceny Barrel Proof and Elijah Craig Barrel Proof. This is actually a C922, so a 2-year-old batch for $80. If that's what you're looking for, that's a buy for you. And then we have the Toasted Barrel Bourbon and the brand new Toasted Barrel Rye for $60. And below, again, usual suspects, Henry McKenna 10-year, Heaven Hill Bottle and Bond, and the standard Elijah Craig and Larceny, all at really good retail prices. And then over here, we have the Buffalo Trace shelf. So we have each a small batch for $80, Blanton's for $100, Weller Special Reserve for $50, the Kosher Rye Recipe for $100, Eagle Rare for $50, and then we have 1792 Sweet Wheat and 12-year for $90. And then Devil's River Barrel Strength, which I don't know a lot about. So again, you're not going to find Buffalo Trace just sitting at MSRP, but these are really reasonable prices if you don't want to hunt and you just want a bottle. And then moving over, we do have the Jack Daniel's shelf, and really the main bottle that's interesting to us is the Single Barrel Proof Rye. This is 135.7 proof.
Good one.
Which, yeah, that's a really good proof range right there. We love these bottles. If you haven't been able to find them in their area, they are totally worth anywhere from $65 to $80. Some of the best barrel proof rye on the market, honestly. And then below, we just have the really standard Jack Daniel's, Four Roses, Gentleman Jack, Woodford. Now moving to the back shelf, this is going to be more of the high ticket items. So we have up top left, we have the whole Booker's lineup, along with the Heaven Hill 20-year Mellow Corn. To the right, we have a couple of little book editions for $180, both the Retrospect and the Path Not Taken. Both of those were really well reviewed. And so $180, that's a really reasonable price for it. And then the new special release Little Book Infinite just to the right at $300. We also have Michter's Toasted Barrel Strength Rye for $250, a few Orphan barrels, and then we're getting more into the Scotch and Irish. And to the right, we just have a couple of the newer, or the same Innkeeper's blends from 2XO. And then going back to this top row, we have Old Elk Infinity Blend. We got Midwinter Nights Dram, Frey Ranch, the Old Forester Single Barrel Strength Rye for $130. If we didn't recently pick that up at MSRP, that may be going home with us. That's the cheapest we've seen it at a liquor store. And to the right, we have the brand new Knob Creek Bourbon X Rye, the 15-year and the 18-year. Dropping down a shelf, probably the standout is Remus Repeal. Batch 6 for $120. We have a few Bardstowns, the special edition Yellowstone for $190. And then we have a couple more Redwood Empire bottles, both the Pipe Dream Cast Strength and Rocket Top Rye. And then one more, we go into the Russell's section. So we've got the Single Brick House for $300. I know a lot of people have been clamoring for that bottle. It's been going for way more than that. It is a high price, but that is retail for it. And so if you're a Russell's fan, that's the ticket to enter. And then to the right, we do have the Master's Keep, Kentucky Spirit, and Long Branch. And then just below, we do have the Maker's BEP, which is a 2023 release for $90. So if you're still looking for one of those bottles or you really enjoyed it, that's a great price. A Private Select, and then the normal 46 Double Oak. And now moving over, we have the really prized possession shelf, La Buffalo Trace. We have Old Forester Birthday Bourbon for $700. We have the whole BTAC lineup, all the Pappies. We have all the fancy E.H. Taylors. We have actually the Barrel Proof Rye right there for $700, the Barrel Proof Bourbon for $400, and Single Barrel for $180. Obviously, again, not the cheapest prices, but we do absolutely love that Barrel Proof Bourbon, and it's really hard to find, so $400 is really not out of question there. Dropping down a shelf, we have Bland's Gold, Bland Straight from the Barrel, and Hancock's at $70. That's actually cheaper than Total Wine sells it for now, so if you're looking for Hancock's, that's probably the best value you can find right around. And then we have the new Old Overhaul, Old Granddad 16-year, Elmer T. Lee for $200, and Rock Hill Farms for $275. And the final top shelf, all the way at the top, we have the Sam Adams Utopia beer. That's kind of crazy. We have a barrel bourbon, Dickel 17, Baker's 13 year for $300, a couple Kentucky Owls, the beautiful Remus Gatsby Reserve for $300, and then we have an Old Fitzgerald 19 year for $900, and the brand new 2024 release of Maker's Cellar Age for $400. With the Elijah Craig 18, and then the crazy boxes to the right, Double Eagle Very Rare and Old Fashioned Copper right there. So all of those a little outside our price range, but always fun to see those bottles in person. All right, and as we move over here, this is the reason why we came today. They got their Russell's Reserve single barrel pick in, the Christmas cookie batch. All right, we're here with Omar, who handles all the barrel picks at Cosmo.
Hi, guys.
He's going to tell us a little bit about the new Russell's pick.
Alrighty, guys. So the newest addition to the barrel pick that we just received about 3 weeks ago, and we just released it last week on Friday. This is something that's very special to us because thank you to Bruce Russell that actually assisted us on this pick. This is an 8-year, 11-month turkey product, okay? It's a Russell's pick. This is Bruce Russell's baby. This is his program. He takes a lot of pride in what he does, and he does an excellent job. Just to give you an idea about this, and I know for a fact that my friends here, the Whiskey Tribe, they're going to give us a nice review and then tell you guys what they think about it. But we actually passed up on a Captain Nelson just to get this, okay? So I just want to touch upon the sticker just a little bit. Big shout out to our graphic designer, Chris. He does an excellent job. He assists us with just everything that involves any sort of graphic designing, putting everything together. There's a whole brainstorming of ideas, and he just kind of filters what he likes and what he doesn't like, and then gives us these type of products as a final product. So anyway, just to touch upon it. So it's an 8-year turkey product. With that being said, we brought in this handsome looking turkey. It's a good looking turkey. This is paying homage to the old sticker. If you guys recall, I know some of you guys out there, you guys are long time bourbon drinkers. The Austin Nichols sticker back then used to be a turkey that looked just like this, gold foil, and it used to say Austin Nichols on it. So I figured that this was fitting, seeing how this is Jimmy Russell's 70th anniversary. And for those of you out there that actually got to pick up a bottle of that 101 Jimmy Russell, I heard excellent things. I haven't tried it myself, but I can't wait to try it. So this is a huge thank you to them and paying homage to them. And now we are handing the product over to you guys. Whenever we get a barrel pick, we like to always give something special. And this time around, we went ahead and decided with the raffle. So whenever you buy a bottle of that or a bottle of the Elijah Craig, you're going to be given one raffle ticket. And what that raffle ticket is going to be able to get you, if your ticket is drawn, and this is all based on the order in which it's drawn, okay, you're gonna get to buy either a bottle of Sazerac 18, a George T. Stack, or a Thomas H. Handy, all 2024 releases at MSRP, guys.
Yeah.
So that's $199.99 on the Sazerac 18, $189.99 on the George T. Stack, and $179.99 on the Thomas H. Handy. I think it's a phenomenal value. I think my boss, when he decided to do this, I thought this is what the people want, and you're giving them exactly what they need, especially for the holiday times. This will actually go all the way till November the 27th. More details are on our Instagram page. Make sure to follow us at Cosmo Liquor. Big shout out to my group as well. We're Bourbon Fetishes on Instagram. Give us a follow. We assist my boss to, pick out these barrels. And so far, I think that we've been blessed, and we've done a phenomenal job. We have great people. We built great relationships through these barrels, the barrel programs, everybody that's assisted, everybody that's supported. It's been honestly a humbling experience. And I think this is a phenomenal community that we got going.
Yeah. So if you're in the area, make sure to come by, grab at least the Russell's pick, if not the Elijah Craig pick too. Just do it before Thanksgiving, get in the raffle, and at $75, it's a great pick. All right, we just got outside of Cosmo Liquor. Big shout out to Omar for hosting us this morning and just being awesome to be around. And big shout out to Chris, the owner, for providing us with one of their Russell's Reserve store pick bottles to review. So we're gonna go back home, hop into the studio, and give this bottle a quick review for you guys. All right, so next day, we're back in the studio, and we're gonna give this bottle a crack and taste it, review it.
Yeah, let's do it. We were told at the liquor store that the neck pour is actually amazing. So we want to make sure we give it a fresh crack and, you know, give our honest feedback on the first taste with you guys. So this will be fun. Obviously, we are expecting it to be like a Christmas cookie in some way, shape, or form, just because of it being the Christmas cookie batch. But yeah, we're excited to try it and give you guys what we think about it.
All right, let's get into the nose.
Okay. It definitely smells different than a lot of the other Russell's Reserve Store picks that we've had in the past.
Yeah, there's no of that like red hot artificial cinnamon that sometimes I get in Wild Turkey.
Yeah, like almost like Fireball.
Yeah, it tastes very natural. It's still got those spices, but it tastes like, it smells like real cinnamon, not a candy.
Yeah, no, that totally makes sense. I feel like it's definitely more on the like allspice side of like the baking spices, but it, like Jonathan said, is very light and, you know, pleasant. It feels very Christmassy.
Yes, feels very Christmassy. Yeah, I totally agree. All the allspice, all the baking spices. It still smells like a bourbon. It's not a rye. It's not crazy. And I would say it smells right at that 110 proof. There's still ethanol in the nose, but it's not crazy hot. It's not super subdued. If I were tasting it blind, I'd probably guess it's around 110 proof. So that's really nice.
The only other light note that I'm getting is like a little bit of nuttiness, but I would say more on like the pecan side of things.
Yeah.
All right, you want to give it a taste?
Let's do it.
Sweet.
On the taste, it is pretty hot. I mean, it's all of that 110 proof. I wouldn't say harsh or anything like that, but it's almost barrel proof bourbon. You know that. And then I'd say, honestly, almost all the flavors that we talked about on the nose carry through pretty well on the palate. It's almost 1-to-1 for me.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I think the one thing that I am getting a lot more of on the palate as opposed to the nose is that nuttiness. So obviously this is a Wild Turkey product. I am going to get a little bit of nuttiness, but in general for me, I think it leans more toward like almond, and I'm almost getting a similar vibe to the like Mexican wedding cookies. So I don't know if any of you have tried those out there, but they're almond-based cookies. And yeah, this is kind of like the sweetness and the almond kind of mixed together in the taste for me. And that's what it reminds me of.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. I think the nuttiness on this bottle in particular is up our alley in terms of what nuttiness. It's not the same nuttiness. It's not a peanut. It's not what you get from, you know, a stereotypical Jim Beam or Heaven Hill.
Yeah.
So I think that's definitely more my preference, that this it doesn't take over either.
Exactly.
And then I think it does work really well with all those baking spices, and yeah, it turns into kind of a baked good, a cookie, and it's really good.
Yeah, and I don't know if we mentioned this before, but this is an 8-year, 11-month-old pick from Tyrone Warehouse K.
Yeah, which, as far as I'm aware, for all the Wild Turkey nerds, that's not particularly special. I mean, like, you can find picks that are a full 9 years or even 10 years, and then Captain Nelson are really the warehouses that people search for. But I think when you have a store that's tasting through all the barrels and actually going for it, if they choose something from a less desirable warehouse, that means that the barrel probably really shined. And I think that's what happened here.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I think on the finish, I'm left with like a really long finish. I really enjoy that. And I think, again, baking spices is super prevalent.
Yeah.
I do still feel that heat. Yes. I think it is a little hot right now. I'd love to see it, you know, open up and see how I like it, you know, a couple days from now, a couple weeks from now. Yeah. But honestly, this is the best Russell's pick that I have tried.
Or even Wild Turkey product. I think this is better than our bottle of Rare Breed. Yeah, we have a few Russell's picks, and some are pretty good. Some are not our profile. They're way too in the red hot cinnamon territory, and others are just a good standard bourbon. But I think this is...
So sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, I completely agree. Again, we want to give a huge thanks to Cosmo Liquor for inviting us out and actually gifting us this bottle.
Yes.
So obviously, we still gave you an honest review. Got to make sure we do that. We'll always be honest with you guys, but it is super nice to, you know, meet them and, you know, actually get to try something that they took a lot of pride and joy in.
Yeah. Yeah, they actually got to go out to the distillery to pick it, which is always cool to hear. And that's preferential over them just getting a few samples in the mail. I feel like that lets the bottle become a little bit better in the end. And yeah, just really excited that we got this bottle because, as we said, we're not huge Wild Turkey fans, so maybe we would have passed on this one and we would have missed out for sure. So just make sure if you're in the area, go out, get a bottle if this sounds up your alley, and get into that raffle if you can buy it before November 27th.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you guys so much for watching. As always, like, subscribe, comment, all that kind of good stuff. We'd love to hear from you guys. We post a new video every Monday, so make sure you check in back next week. Bye.